Welcome back to Zachary Family Hobbies. I wanted to take a moment to talk about an early attempt I made at grading cards. Now, you probably know that there's multiple things to look for. Some of the key ones are surface area, corners, centering, and there's a number of other things to take into consideration when you're grading. I wanted to show you some of the first attempts I ever made at grading. And I picked out a handful of cards I thought were pretty good. But let me show you the results. I first sent to PSA and then I sent to CGC. So let's start with the PSA, which was my very first attempt. So all of these cards are 2016 Pokemon Generations. The first one we have is Ninetales EX. This graded at a 9. And you'll notice this is the older label that hasn't been updated. But this is one of my first attempts at grading. Next we have Vaporeon EX. Also graded a 9. Next we have the Radiant Collection Sylveon EX. This is a full art. Beautiful card. Also a 9. Next we have a full art M Gardevoir EX Radiant Collection, also PSA 9. Then we have the full art Holo Articuno. This is a beautiful card. That's possibly my favorite of the three, especially after Pokemon Go came out, and the colors kind of tie in with each of which version you pick. Well, as you may guess it, I was blue. Finally, I had to throw in at least one Charizard. Charizard EX, also graded a 9. Now, shortly thereafter, I was using CGC a lot for comics. So I decided to send, early on, CGC a handful of cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like we have 8 cards here. Now, unfortunately, these are not as good. But I don't know if it's because early CGC was a little tougher on cards, or if they honestly think these are not graded as high. Some of them I disagree with. But let me show you what we got. The first one is, so each of these, I believe, are a mixture. We have Detective Pikachu case file, Generations, Evolutions, Darkness Ablaze. So that's a mixture of what we got here. The first one is a Charizard Evolutions Reverse Holo. As you may guess, that was an unfortunate grade, 8.5. So there were 3 8.5s in this stack. I haven't resubmitted or reviewed close enough, but at the time I did this, I wasn't looking under a microscope. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But that's the first one. Then, this one really hurt. So also from the Evolutions collection, we have the Charizard Holo. 8.5. Not even a 9. Beautiful card though. Lots of nostalgia. And that's really why I jumped back in using the 2016. I grew up with Pokemon and had tons of cards, which I gave away to other kids who were younger than me at an earlier age. And some might say I regret it, but at the same time, it was for other kids to enjoy the cards, which is really the purpose. Now, the next one means something more personal because my son and I went to Toys R Us when Toys R Us still existed as a standalone store and got this card. Now, it graded at 8.5. This particular card I've looked through pretty intently, and I'm not sure I agree with that card. Some of the corners are not cut quite right, but there is, and ignore the bag. The bag's causing some issues with this, but the corners are very nice on this card, other than the cut itself. The centering's a little off, you'll notice. Not sure if it quite, well, I guess it's off quite a bit, but 8.5 was hard on this one. So I might actually get rid of this one and work my way up to a higher grade. Next, and to give you an idea, the next 5 are all graded Mint 9. The next one's from Generations. We have an M Charizard EX. This was a great pull. Oh, another thing, all of these cards are pulls from packs. These are not purchased cards. My son and I prefer to pull packs just for fun, and then we have recently started grading. The next one is a Black Star promo from Detective Pikachu case file. It is graded CGC 9, Charizard GX. Now, we do have the large, or the jumbo card of the exact same card. However, it had some whiting on the corners in the back, so it's not something that we've graded. Next, going back to the Evolutions set, we have a reverse holo that graded a 9. So this was better than the first card. And the corners are clearly better on this one than the other one. I was not surprised the other one came back as an 8.5, but it was still Charizard, and I still enjoyed it at the time. Next, we have another Evolutions full art 101 of 108 M Charizard EX. That is a gorgeous card. I love this card. This one was another one that was in very, very good condition. Corners are rounded, centering's pretty good. Beautiful surface, no whiting. I think this probably could have got at least a half grade higher, but CGC seemed to think that 9 was appropriate at this juncture. Finally, we go to Darkness Ablaze. So if you think Darkness Ablaze, you probably know what I'm gonna pull, but this is only number 20 in the pack. This is not any kind of secret rare or anything like this. This is the Charizard V Max from 2020, Darkness Ablaze. Absolute gorgeous card. Finally have a V Max in Charizard, which also graded a 9. So the last thing I want to tell you is that early on, it was really just, what do I see with my eye? And I don't necessarily see as much as a grader would. Why? Because they use special tools, in particular, a magnifying glass. Now, I watched videos from other YouTubers who are Pokemon collectors, and I got this off Amazon. It's a magnifying glass that you stick on the back of your phone. You stick it right on where the lens is. You see this comes right off. There's a little button here. Pops right off. You can move this up and down, and then you can loosen this and move it left to right wherever you need. And this, you just push the button, stick it on, and wait for the click. Hear the click. And there's a button here. Hello. A light. And when you stick this really close to the card, you can see every little nook and cranny. So any whiting, any edge issues, you'll be able to see with this 200 times magnifying glass. Does it mean I'm going to not grade a card if I see some damage? Sometimes. Usually if I can see it with the naked eye, I'm not going to grade it. But if I see it with this, I may still grade it, especially if it's a card that I have a personal emotional connection to, like that Toys R Us Charmander. Or if I think the card is worth grading regardless of a higher grade. So, but I do recommend you pick these up very cheap. I think it's 25, 30 bucks on Amazon. You could probably find a better price for another one, but this has built-in light to give you a little bit more illumination when you're at that kind of a zoom. So I recommend that, and I look forward to showing you some other cards that we are sending for grade soon. Thank you.